Do you spend hours of every day sat at a desk feeling tired and stiff and achy, and at the end of the day just feeling all a bit worn out by sitting and working all day? Well, what if I told you that just standing for a few minutes to a couple of hours a day could revolutionise how you feel at the end of the day? Everybody's into standing desks at the moment. In some countries they're de rigueur. Most people have got them. Here in the UK, where I'm talking from at the moment, there aren't that many in use, but they're becoming more and more popular. So I thought it's time to visit what are the benefits of a standing desk. Is it a good idea in the first place? Well, guess what? Yes, it is. So let's dive in. I'm not here to tell you that standing all day is a great thing. I'm not here to tell you that you need to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on the best electric desks. But I am here to tell you that some small changes to your day can make a big difference. So I'm not going to tell you that standing all day is a solution to all your problems. No. But if you work from home, or you're a hybrid worker, or you've got a progressive, forward-thinking employer who wants to look after you and make sure that you're more productive and feel better at the end of the day, then something like this is going to be something that makes a big difference for you. Let's look at what those benefits are. Let's make sure that we're making the right choice if we decide to buy an electric desk. One of the problems with sitting all day is that you're much more likely to end up with issues like back pain and neck pain. There's an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, and frankly, it's just not a nice way to spend your day. So what we do is we alternate between sitting and standing to make sure that we're moving throughout the day. You might have the idea that if you were to get an electric desk, one like this one here, that you'd spend all day standing and all those aches and pains from sitting would be a thing of the past. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. And there are studies, particularly one recently come out of Australia, suggesting that standing all day has its own set of health risks as well. In particular, I can think of varicose veins being an issue, increased problems with plantar fasciitis, fatigue. So basically being in one fixed position for a long period of time, whether that's sitting or whether that's standing, just isn't very good for you. Well, how do we solve that issue? Many desks like this come with quite easy to use electronic height adjustments. You can get standing desks which you manually use to change between up and down, and you can get desk toppers which you manually have to lift up and lift down to use. But in my experience, although there's some benefit to that, people just aren't doing it. Why? Because it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's tiring, and because we just can't be bothered. What we need is something quick and easy to help us. So smart desks like this one here has up and down. You can usually get ones with a little, it'll tell you how many centimeters it's at and set it automatically. Or this one here even has software associated with it, where at the click of a button, you can adjust it between the right height for standing and the right height for sitting, which makes it so much easier. Forward-thinking desk companies now are starting to include apps which connect your mobile phone to your smartwatch and also come up on your monitor as well, just to make sure that you're going through that rotation between sitting and standing throughout the day. The benefits of that? Well, boosted and improved energy, less risk of back pain and all the other complications that I talked about earlier. It's better as well, for example, if you're presenting, if you're someone who's on Zoom or Teams, Hangouts, whatever it might be, it's always better to be standing than to be sat there a head in a box looking uncomfortable staring into your webcam like I'm doing now. Let's talk about back pain in particular. By alternating between sitting and standing, you're getting the movement that your body really enjoys. We just hate being static for long periods of time. The simple act of standing up and sitting down, even if it's only for 2 or 3 seconds, is enough to give your body the movement it needs over short periods of time to make sure that it gets so much fewer of those aches and pains that you might be experiencing right now. In addition, I find that for many people who are sitting at a desk, their chair either isn't good enough, it's a poor quality chair, hasn't got the features that they need, it hasn't got the ergonomic essentials that many chairs should have, and people tend to sit badly on chairs anyway, perched at the front of their chair whilst they're typing or looking at their screen, which does away with many of the benefits of that chair in the first place. And having a standing desk just encourages movement. If I come and stand over here and I'm typing away, I've done my thing, then I'm much more able to move around and think or look out of the window, do whatever it is that I need to do. Whereas if I'm stuck in a chair, it's kind of difficult, isn't it, to have to haul yourself out of it if you want to get a bit of movement. And that's why many people stay static for such a long period of time. Not only that, but if you're anything like me, you like your food, you like your drink, I really enjoy eating and drinking, and I really don't enjoy burning off those calories. Standing for periods during the day is a great way to burn off some extra calories throughout the day without you having to go off and do some run around the park for half an hour, sweating, gasping as your neighbours wonder what on earth you've been up to. Or hitting the gym at lunchtime in your workplace, meaning that you're having to get away from all your colleagues and come back in the afternoon all sweaty and stinky, which nobody wants really, do they? So using a standing desk like this is just one step towards being healthier. Finally, some studies have shown that using a sit-stand desk like this can improve your mood and make you feel better and more happy. Certainly it's something that I like to do throughout the day. I feel much better at the end of the day when I've been sitting and standing in varying portions than I've been sat static at a desk all day in the same position. And let's talk about varicose veins and plantar fasciitis, swollen ankles. All of these sorts of things can happen if you stand all day, but sitting and standing and alternating between them reduces the risk of those and gets you moving as well. So what's the best way to use a sit-stand desk? Well, there are various times that you can use. You could say, I'm going to sit for an hour, I'm going to stand for an hour, I'm going to sit for 20 minutes, I'm going to stand for 20 minutes. And the software on desks like this here enable you to be able to do that. But for a lot of people, their day tends to revolve around the tasks that they're performing. So you might need to do some intensive typing work, and then you might need to do a Zoom meeting, and then you might need to do some intensive typing work. And if you can get that task rotation going throughout your day, so you're sitting for your spreadsheets and you're standing for your Zooms, that's a really nice way of working with it. Some studies have suggested that for every half hour, maybe sitting for every 20 minutes, standing for 8, and moving around and stretching for another 2 is ideal. But for many workplaces, that's just not an option. So you can use an automated desk like this to automate it for you really nicely. And if you've got a workplace where you have set activities, then use a bit of common sense and spread out your day so that you're sitting and standing well. It's important, and really mean this, that you don't suddenly go from sitting all day working to standing all day working. You're going to end up with a similar set of problems from being in the same position all day. So build up to it if you get a sit-stand desk. Maybe start with 5 minutes in every hour, and then 10, and then 15, maybe 20. And a nice ratio I find is somewhere along the lines of 2/3 sitting, 1/3 standing. That's absolutely fantastic, particularly if you're going to get out and about during the day for your lunch break, getting away from your desk. Don't just have another sandwich crammed over your desk. Get out, some light into your eyes and get some movement going, which is going to benefit your well-being and your posture too. Additionally, it's really important that you set your desk to the right height and that you have the right ergonomic environment around you as well. There's no point having a standing desk and then having a laptop on it here, which is going to leave you standing like this to type on your laptop. That would be absolute madness. So here you'll notice for me, this desk is set at just over 1 metre, 104 centimetres, and you'll notice here that the forearms are parallel to the floor. So my poor forearms are parallel to the floor. And here you'll notice that makes it really nice and easy to type on the keyboard with my mouse nice and close by. Here the B for belly button is in front of my belly button. The keyboard is really nice and close to me as well. When I'm out and about in the field, one of the issues that I see with people with standing desks is, perhaps because they've got paperwork, they will have their keyboard set forwards on the desk like that, and then they'll be leaning forwards like this. Or even worse, putting contact stress and pressure into their forearms as they lean on the desk to work. Can you see how bad this is for my posture here? So having the keyboard at the front of the desk and the mouse right next to it is paramount to make sure that you're standing well. In fact, I found that the desk height is even more important to get right when you're standing and working than when you're sitting. And here's why. Let me lower this table. Just lower it a little bit. Doesn't look like much change, does it? But now to type, can you see how the keyboard's down here and the mouse is down here? And the tendency over time is for you to pull yourself, to dock yourself into the object you're using, which will leave you with bad neck pain and back pain. Here again, I'm going to raise the table so it's a little bit too high for me. And what you'll notice here then is that we've got that nasty contact stress again onto the arms here, which is a primary cause of repetitive strain injuries, carpal tunnel syndrome, real bad soreness and time off work, so don't let that happen to you. So I've reset the desk to the right height again for me. Now, what else can you see here? The screen, a little bit close to, because I'm closer here to the desk. So we're going to have the screen slightly further back, and my eye height wants to be about here at the top of the screen. If my screen is too low, guess what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen. You're going to end up doing this to look into it, all the same old problems. And if your screen is too high, our eyes hate looking up. You're going to end up rotating your head and neck up to look into the screen. And again, you've got all those problems as well. Don't believe me? Well, try looking up now. Look up towards the ceiling and notice that your eyes really don't like that, do they? We end up tilting our head up to look. Our eyes like to look straight ahead and down to about 20 degrees down. So if your top of your screen is at about eye height here and about 20 degrees down looking to the bottom of the screen, that's perfect. And usually about arm length away is great for most people. If you're anything like me, you might need glasses for work. These make it perfect. And that little adjustment between a couple of inches forwards and a couple of inches back is the difference between your text being crisp and clear and you needing to put effort into seeing it. So make sure that your screens are set at the right height too. Now, if you do have a sit-stand desk, I usually recommend using a monitor arm because it makes it so much easier to adjust the monitor to you. And if you're working with other people, you can point it to them. You've got other members, perhaps you're working from home, other members in the family or children who want to do their homework, or heaven forbid, jump on your computer and play Minecraft for 7 hours a day, then it's really nice to be able to adjust the screen heights for them too. I have other suggestions for you. Now, these may not be the smartest, most funky trainers in the world, but they are super comfortable. And if you're going to be standing for a period of time, it makes a lot of sense to be wearing comfortable shoes so that your feet aren't struggling while you're standing for those extra periods of time. Some people like to use a nice anti-fatigue mat, which you can place here under the desk, which is great. Pros of that are it's great for standing. Cons are if you pull your chair in close, sometimes the mat can get in the way, so those can be awkward. One thing I do like to add in here, this is a really nice footrest. This one's nice and soft and comfortable. The benefit of this is then when you're standing, see if you can see from over here, you can have one foot up on it and then you can have the other foot up on it, and it just adds a little bit of variety and a bit more movement into how you're standing as well. And that brings me to my final point, which is keep moving. Whatever you do, don't just stand there. Oh, I've got a standing desk. I'm going to stand here for 2 hours straight, because guess what? You are going to end up with aches and pains. So let's talk about some of the common myths associated with standing desks. Myth number 1, standing desks are going to solve all your posture problems. Well, no, they're not. There are more important things to think about in terms of your posture, which is being body aware and making sure that your posture is good. If you pop over to posturestars.com, you'll find some of my free courses that teach you how to stand and how to sit with great posture whilst you're working, as opposed to doing a 5-minute posture fix down at the gym and then spending 8 hours with bad standing or bad sitting posture and wondering why it still hurts at the end of the day. Myth number 2, it's great to stand all day. It's not great to stand all day. No one wants to stand all day. We've talked about making those adjustments between sitting and standing, and it's the movement that's the key. The benefit of the sit-stand desk is not that you're standing, it's that you're moving between sitting and standing and sitting, and varying that throughout the day so that your body's in different positions and it gets that movement. And myth number 3, standing desks are expensive. No, not anymore. They were a while ago, and what happened was COVID came along and a lot of people were working from home, and it was really important for them to be able to work from home comfortably, and they didn't have space. So standing desks were at a premium and prices were expensive. But now, at time of filming, it's 2025, the price of standing desks is really reasonable. And many manufacturers of standing desks do a really great job of not only keeping costs down, but making sure that their products are as ecologically friendly as possible and as useful and helpful to you as possible too. In fact, on our website, prosperstars.com, we sell a standing desk which is really popular, which has all the software bundled that I've been talking about, which is very, very affordable. And if you can't afford a standing desk, you could always build one for yourself. So if you had an alcove like this, for example, you could place battens against the walls and against the back and use a sheet of MDF to fill in an alcove, and then have a laptop that you bring over and place on a stand with a separate keyboard and mouse for when you're standing, and then you can take it back over to your kitchen table or wherever when you're sitting. So it doesn't have to be particularly expensive. In an ideal world, everybody would be able to afford an electric sit-stand desk. The world isn't ideal, but if you consider that you spend 8 hours a day, generally and often more, working at your desk, and consider how little that investment is, particularly on a daily rate, compared to, it's probably less than a cup of tea, isn't it? Compared to the amount of money you would spend on your car or your settee or your bed or any of those other things, it's a no-brainer to get that extra movement in during the day. I would not be without mine. Would you be without one? I don't think you should be. So as an added bonus, anyone who comes to prosperstars.com and who buys a desk from us gets a free 15-minute video consultation with me. So I show you through all of the stuff and make sure that you've got yourself set up just right. And if that's not for you, then you might be interested in watching the next video, which will review the sit-stand desk that I'm using here so you can see all the features and all the benefits. Stick around for that. See you in the next video.